If two friends in San Francisco are sitting together having coffee, and one of them says, "It's my intention to go to New York City and to stand on that observation deck on the Empire State Building." And the other person has never even heard of the Empire State Building or of New York City for that matter. Which one do you think has a greater chance of making it to New York City? I'll say it's the one with the intention of getting there. And we're having a discussion today in my rapid resolution therapy training about what happens when we wish or we hope or we need or want or even trust. Like I trust that I'm going to do this thing. Not nearly as much. What gives something power is your actual intention. And we take a whole different look at things. It's been so fascinating learning this stuff from Dr. John Connolly because we take a whole different perspective on everything. And it's super fascinating. My dog's going to be doing all kinds of fun stuff. So it's really fascinating because part of what we do when we're working with clients is we have an intention for them. And we start with a generalized intention, meaning we have a certain way we want their mind to operate. We want them to be clear, their mind entertaining only thoughts that have value about things that would be good to have done and possible to do. So what that means is it possible to do anything about anything you did in the past or didn't do in the past? Well, no. Then is it useful for you to be thinking about what you should have done differently at all? No, it's not useful. So we seek to clear up those glitches in the brain. And then we want people's minds to attach interest and appeal to doing these things that would be good to have done and possible to do. And interest and appeal can also be pleasure. We want them to feel pleasure in actually doing these things, even if it's not something they're going to enjoy. So think about somebody in dental school. That is a long commitment, or medical school, or anything that requires a lot of education. Is it pleasurable to be in school? Well, for some people it is. Like, I love learning. I loved being in school. Some people just are looking toward that diploma and they're like, okay, if I get through this, then I'll finally be able to make a lot of money or practice or help people or whatever it is that they want to do. So we want people's mind to attach pleasure, interest, and appeal to the process of getting to where they want to go. So if it's releasing weight that you want, we're looking to get your mind to enjoy exercising, to enjoy eating healthy, and to start noticing how your body feels good and different when you treat it well, right? So it's not just looking at you as at a certain size or at a certain weight. It's like, wow, it feels really good to be making healthy choices. And then satisfaction in having done it. So you feel good at the end of the day, man, I ate really well. I really took care of my body. I moved it. I was nice to it. I talked kindly to myself, whatever it was. So that is like what we start with before we even sit down with someone. And then as they speak and tell us what's been causing them turmoil, we're looking at where we're seeing them. So our intention for that person, which eventually we share with them, is what motivates our actions. And it's so interesting looking at the lens of therapy. Now, I don't know a single therapist that has ever sat down with a client, and I went to a lot of them and said, "Your results are my responsibility." Can you even imagine that? And and here's the kicker, like if you aren't being responsible for somebody's results, even for your own in your own life, depending on what you're doing, then you have no power. So when I sit down with clients, as I say, it is my responsibility to cause a shift for you. It's my responsibility. That gives me all the power in the world to cause it. If I'm putting it on them, it does a lot of things. Like number one, it's like it makes them wrong if nothing's happening. And they don't know how to do it. If they knew how to clear what's been troubling them, they would have done it years ago. They wouldn't walk around with it for 40, 50 years. Nobody would, right? Like, I can't clear my own stuff. I go to somebody else for that. I can't do it. I'm not that good yet. And apparently I never will be, according to the guy who is teaching me this. So it's not something I'm intending, right? So back to intention. If you never have an intention to be a certain weight or to do a certain race, these are physical kind of things, or to reach a certain level in your career or your income, or to be in a relationship, how likely do you think you will be to actually do those things or be those things or have those things? Not very likely. It's like starting on a cross country journey and not having a destination in mind. Like, how likely are you to get anywhere if you don't have a destination or a GPS or a map? Like, how are you going to get there? So, it's really interesting for me to play with this power of intention. And I invite you to play with it a bit and really be responsible for your results. And when you're intending something so strongly that you're willing to cause it, no matter what, you're willing to be committed to this thing happening, no matter what. One thing, oh, this is really interesting. I had a group meditation with my local Dr. Joe group, and we did this meditation called Synchronizing Your Energy to a New Life. And it's a very long meditation. I think it's close to an hour and a half, but it's so like dreamy and just like floaty. And one of the things I've done it many, many times. One of the things I noticed is he's like, imagine that you are in this situation that you already want to be. You've already done the thing, you already have the thing, you already are whatever it is that you want. And you feel those feelings in your body. And my mind, my analytical mind started to go, but how? Okay. And it started to try to figure out the steps. And I'm like, I caught it finally. Because a lot of times I just go down this rabbit hole. I'm not really trusting the unknown. I'm not surrendering. I'm not softening into the moment. I'm controlling. And it really struck me. Wow, this is still so strong in me, the desire to control. So as I was recognizing it, I'm like, okay, the how is none of my business. Like I've said that a zillion times to other people. But there I was, like trying to figure out step one, do this, step two, and very 3D, very linear, not quantum, which is where we were playing. So as I rested into that and I really just allowed my body to feel those feelings and to not worry about the details because again, they're none of my business. And I realized that I mean, I've been following Dr. Joe since 2020, like more seriously. So 4 years now. And this is something that it's still like a challenge for me to let go of the how and to just trust that when I feel those feelings, when I raise my vibration and I send out the thought, this is what I want. This is the thing that I want. So the thought sends out the signal, the emotion, the feeling draws that event to you. So I've been sending out the thought and then feeling some of the emotions, but then I get caught up like in the like, okay, well, what are the steps? Okay, bring it to me in this way. This is the opportunity that I want, and I want it to be with this person, and I want this particular event to happen. I'm like, huh, interesting, right? Like how controlling and how smart do I think I am? Smarter than the universe, smarter than God. I mean, really? I mean, I am God and you are God, but it's comical to think about, really. It, and it just struck me in that moment in this meditation, like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been doing. And this is the disconnect of just allowing. So, sending out the thought as a signal, like, this is what I want, drawing that event to me with the emotion and then letting it go, surrendering, bring it to me in a way I least expect it, in a way that will surprise and delight me. I've been missing those sentences, and Dr. Joe says them over and over and over, but Apparently I omitted those because I did not like that. Like that would put me out of control. So I invite you to look at it like when you are intending something, are you figuring like, okay, I have to do step one, step two, step three, and like looking at the entire path? Or are you open and saying, okay, show me step one. What's my first step? Because that's all you need. And once you take a step, you're going to get clarity. Okay, did that take me closer to where I want or further away? And then what's my next step? And trust me, I am speaking to myself right now, not to you. Like, Karen, this is for you. This episode is your reminder. So, again, like this has been like a big challenge. And I think anybody who's really experienced any type of chaos growing up or uncertainty, where you just didn't know what was going to happen in the next moment, many of us cling to that control and we think that provides us with safety. It really doesn't. It is an illusion because me trying to control an outcome is not making me feel any safer. It's really not. It's not producing a result that would make me feel safer. It's not doing any of those things. One moment, Lola must go out. Hopefully, go, go out. You don't want to go out? Okay, maybe she doesn't want to go out. She just wants the door open. She wants the ability to come and go as she pleases. There, she left. I tell you, Lola makes an appearance, I think, in almost every episode. So, intention and control. Like, control is that illusion of safety. And if you can relate to that, man, raise your hand, join the club. That's something that I support people with in clearing. I guess I get to get it cleared. I get to make an appointment with somebody who does what I do. Because, like I said, like I can't clear it myself. All right, let me close the door. Because you know she'll be coming back any second now, right? She's going to be scratching. I apologize. Hopefully you can't hear her. The noise control or whatever is working. So back to the topic, we're talking about intention, and also I brought in this surrender aspect. Okay, so how in the frick do you do it? How do you surrender? How do you remain unattached? I was talking with my podcast co-host John. Well, we recorded an episode this week, and he was talking about anything, this came from Abraham Hicks, anything that is such a, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened, is not the next logical step. And it's too big of a distance for you to believe that it's fully possible for it to happen next. So what's one step toward what you're creating or where you're going that you can say, yeah, that could easily happen today, easily. And then you can take a step toward that and maybe take some inspired action based on that. And I'm not ever saying like sit and do nothing, sit on your couch and eat bonbons and just expect all these great things to happen. They might. I haven't figured that out yet. If you figure it out, let us know. But it's taking a little bit of inspired action, a little bit every single day, right? Just going toward your intention and allowing your intention to drive what comes next. What would you have me do next? I mean, you can, I believe in co-creating with God, source, spirit, universe. And when you have your intention and you're connecting with God, like, what would you have me do? God knows your intention. God also knows what's intended for you, like on a bigger scale, right? Like maybe you're asking for $1 million, but maybe you're meant to have $100 million. And God's like, that's too small for you. You got to go this way. So you keep being directed the other way, or, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be money, of course. You know that. You're smart. So I'm looking at, where is it where I've been thinking too big that it's like this gap in my mind. My subconscious mind is like, yeah, right, whatever. So today I started playing with, okay, what's my intention for today? And I am in a process of enrolling one-on-one clients into my business. So I'm like, okay, this is easy. I'll just put this dollar amount and, this number of clients, right? for today. And it was like one client and it was a certain dollar amount. I'm like, okay. So got that, right? I got it because it was easy. It was really easy to create it because it was easy. So tomorrow, maybe I'll raise it, right? I'll raise it a little bit. Like, well, if I did this yesterday, why can't I do this today? I mean, it should be easy. And maybe it takes less effort, even. Maybe that's my intention because it's fascinating how it works. I've had a couple of clients recently find me. Like I did nothing. A lot of times, when I've enrolled clients, I've posted on social media, I've sent emails, I call people like, hey, da 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 da. And like I actually call people on the telephone and that is how I've enrolled a lot of one-on-one clients. But two, like recently came to me from nowhere. They came to me. And if I go back and look at the energy, it's really fascinating. It's really fascinating because there was that surrender. There was that knowing. There was almost, I'm not going to say an expectation for me. I know that's something that I get to work on, like having a positive expectation, but it was, I know I'm taken care of. I know the universe will provide for me. I know that what I do is of tremendous value. I know that. I have no doubt. I have seen like hundreds of clients and they all, well, almost all get spectacular results. I have a couple that they got good results in the moment, but then their mind kind of talked them out of it. And that happens, right? Like not everybody, and those are people that did one session. They're not people that saw me for more than one, but that doesn't even matter. What matters is I am enrolled in the value that I provide. And what about you? Like if you're an entrepreneur, a coach, a whatever you do, are you enrolled in the value that you provide? Because if you are, then what is the next step for you? If you want new clients, what's the next step for you? I don't know. Only you know and God, right? So, number one, like set an intention, like what is it that you want? And be clear. Like I would say, like set a small intention first. Like, what do you want today? What do you want this week? And not something so big that your mind's like, oh my gosh, it'd be amazing if I created that, because it's not the next logical step. The next logical step is maybe one client or one person books a call with you to see if they want your services, something like that. So it's really interesting that this came from my podcast partner, John, because he's like so grandiose in his thoughts. He's been following Abraham Hicks for many years. He goes on all the cruises, he does all the things. And then all of a sudden he's like dialing back. And it's really fascinating to see him play with that and to make that connection was really supportive for me because I have this personality style that is called like promoter or cheerleader, like, and we tend to think like we have grandiose intentions, and then we get bored. We're like, oh, this didn't happen today. Like I didn't hit 10 million today, or I didn't serve 200 clients, whatever it is. So, oh my gosh, look at that. That looks really fun. Like we're following the fun, we're chasing it. So for me, like setting small, attainable goals works so much better because then it builds and then I get some momentum and I'm in integrity with my word. I'm not like making these huge declarations and then falling short. Like, well, oops, I didn't enroll 10 clients today. Like just I used to do ridiculous things like that to myself all the time. Then I was always failing. And then my momentum was like toward the downward spiral, like do instead of up, up, up. Look, I got one today. I got another one tomorrow. Like whatever, whatever's reasonable. So what is it that you're intending for yourself? And it can be anything at all. So if you want to release weight, what's a reasonable goal? What's a reasonable goal? What's a reasonable intention? Set that. And I don't know why I want to go on this tangent, but I do. When I was in college, I was, I don't know, 30 pounds overweight or something, like a lot. And I don't know how I thought to do this, but I got a picture of somebody thin and I just like, I kept looking at it And I kept imagining myself thin. And I kept imagining it, imagining it, imagining it. And it took a long time. It took 3.5 years. I was 35 pounds overweight. I released 10 pounds a year without doing a single other thing except imagining myself thin. And that intention drove behaviors to be different. I'm sure that I ate less and moved more, ate less, ate less and moved more. I mean, what else are you going to say? Like, but my body changed. It just took, 3.5 years to release 35 pounds. And I know that it's possible because I did it. Now, could I speed it up now with what I know? Absolutely. So, what is it that you're intending? And who do you get to be to create it? Like, what characteristics would this person embody? And start practicing those, start visualizing, imagining, feeling what it's like, and then look out through her or his eyes. Look out through their eyes and how do they see the world? When they look out at people, how are people looking at them? How are they looking at people? And there's a lot to that. Like, what do they see looking out of their eyes? What is their perspective? What do they feel inside? Because trust me, they still feel fear. They just deal with it differently. They have a different relationship with it. It's more right sized. They possess clarity and focus. Now, in 99.9% of cases with humans, fear is absolutely useless because all it does is make your arms and legs strong and your jaw strong if you're angry, and it makes your brain dumb. So you can't see options. You just are like myopic. You're either focusing on a single point or you can see, everything like so that you can escape a predator. You can see wider, but you're not having access to your brain, like to your logic and reason, to your passion, to your compassion, to your creativity, to all the things that make you a Homo sapien, a human being. You're like an animal in that state. And it's not meant to be, you're not meant to run a marathon when you're afraid. You're meant to sprint and then reset your nervous system, sprint, escape the predator, reset. Unfortunately, we don't reset very often. Our minds like have this malfunction a lot of times with that. Most of it functions really well. That part, not so much. So, if you are facing any type of fears, phobias, anxiety, things like that, please, please, please reach out to me. This is very, very easy for us to take care of in a couple of sessions. So, I invite you to reach out to me for that. Also, I very recently recorded and put on my website a brand new free meditation that is designed to calm down your nervous system, to slow down your brain waves. Because when your brain relaxes, you relax. When your brain relaxes, your body relaxes. It can go into maintenance and repair. You can have access once again to your creativity, your compassion, your sex drive, your bliss, your logic, all the things that make you a human. So if you want to grab that, just go to my website, which is karenseltz.com, and just click the button and you'll get an email that tells you how to use it. Make sure you read that because yes, it's like a quick 5-minute meditation, but doing that 5-minute meditation every single day, when you do it according to the instructions that I give, you build up this toolbox that when you need it, when your nervous system's going crazy, you're about to present to a group of 100 people or whatever, you're at a board meeting, you can use this and turn on your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest, like you can turn it on instantly, but you have to build the network first. You can't just like, oh, I want to do this today. I have a meeting today. I think I'll do the meditation. I mean, it will help you, but it's not going to be, you're going to need it, right? So if you install this hardware over the course of a few weeks, then you can have it on command. You can relax on demand. Whenever you want, you can call it upon you, and your mind will remember that state when you connect to certain symbols that I will direct you to connect to in the email. So grab it. It's worth it. I promise. It's 5 minutes. Thank you so much for watching Irresistible You, Ignite Your Passion and Purpose. My name is Karen Seltz, and it has been my honor and pleasure to be with you in this episode. Thank you for watching. Mwah.